Hello and welcome to Talking Points, our weekly GAA show here on Balls.ie, brought to you in association with Sky Sports. My name is Mark Farley, and this week I am delighted to be joined on the couch by two men who between them have won 10 Leinster titles and 3 All-Irelands at club and county level. Unfortunately though, for our own Gavin Cooney and Longford, all of those have been won by Dublin's Mossy Quinn. Mossy, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, lads, happy to be here.
I'm feeling terribly inadequate, so I kind of want to move on straight away and talk about the silverware that was handed out yesterday in the Provincial finals. Kerry's attempts to talk up Cork came to almost nothing. The Rebels were hammered in Killarney in the Munster title, in the Munster final, should I say. Elsewhere in Leinster, a record crowd of 60,000 turned up at Galway and Wexford in the hurling final. Davy Fitz lasted all of 20 minutes among the crowd before descending from up on high, but he was ultimately powerless to stop Galway running away with a 29 points to 117 victory.
Yeah, some great photos and celebrations there. I think Adrian Toohey there celebrating with his son Jamie as well. I think if Wexford had won it, the celebration probably would have been a bit louder, a bit bolder. Mossy, when you were winning Leinster titles, how did it evolve throughout the years at Dublin? Was it a big thing, or did it sort of dwindle in importance?
It definitely changed, yeah. I think, like you said, if Wexford had won it yesterday, there would have been hysteria. They might have been challenging the old Plan B in Croke Park to see whether they could have got onto the pitch or not. But it was no different for us. We my first Leinster title was 2005, and we celebrated that like it was the biggest thing we'd ever won at the time, and it was special. And even 2006, 2007. But yeah, as the years went on, our focus changed. We kind of realised that we were moving on from Leinster's. They weren't our goal really. We were trying to get to the big one, and I'd say Galway are probably something similar at the moment. While they would have enjoyed yesterday, they know this group is going to be judged on what they do or don't do in September, and it's probably the same down in Kerry yesterday. But the difference, like you could look at the Ulster final or the Leinster finals coming up. If Dublin win, people would say, look, it's just another step on the road, whereas Kildare win, it's the total opposite. Same up the north. If Down happen to shock Tyrone, so it's different teams on different parts of their journey, and I suppose that's the way it weighs up.
Yeah, I suppose as Jamie Heaslip said about the Lions win on Saturday on Sky Sports, Galway they'll be going out, but they'll not be going out to celebrate it. But anyway, moving on. The qualifiers really has been where all the fun has been this year so far. The same has been said for Saturday night. Kilkenny beat Limerick just about on Sky Sports Saturday night. Michael Fennelly was probably the standout performer. Great story for him. He came back, he's 32 years of age, first match back after doing his Achilles against Waterford in last year's championship. He spoke to Sky Sports after the game about his performance.
The Bord Gáis Energy man of the match was Michael Fennelly, and we heard from him earlier on.
Mick, welcome back. What does it mean to be back in a Kilkenny jersey again for you?
Yeah, I suppose I'm caught for words now, to be honest. It's been a long old time since the Waterford game last year, but delighted to get back. Missed the Wexford game, due to kind of a small setback, and I was wondering would I get back at all then over the last few weeks, with the Achilles and that. But thankfully, it came right there kind of last week and got a small bit of training in, and thanks to the physios and management, I suppose, for being patient and I suppose keeping trust in me too. But hell of a battle out there, with the Limerick boys, and our boys really kept going to the end, and I think it was a puck of a ball in the end.
Mick, when we saw the Achilles going hurless last year, people would have wondered, is that it for Mick Fennelly? You could have easily thrown the towel in. What made you come back at this stage of your career to try and achieve more?
Yeah, I suppose it's a challenge really, that's the way it is for me. You can't beat being out there, 20-odd thousand people. That's what it's about, you can keep going. You'll be retired for 40, 50, 60 years, hopefully. So do it while you can, I suppose. That's the way I look at it. I remember Wally Welch, I think last year, it was the Sunday after the Waterford game, and I was in a bad way, I'd say, because I knew myself it was gone, even though I hadn't got a scan. And he said, what's the plan next year? And I said, I don't know will I pack it in or not. And he said, sure, what else would you be doing? And that's the fact of it. So you can't be training. Archie Hogan says I don't do much training, but I'd be doing a bit of my own that he doesn't know, and keeping the head right, I suppose, and trying to keep the body as fresh as I can.
And then in the last few weeks, when you didn't make the Wexford game, how hard is it to keep your hurling tempo up and to get the pitch right?
I don't know, to be honest. I genuinely haven't trained at all the last few weeks. I just got two training sessions last week, and that was it. And it's just the head really, if the head is right, like I said before, the body can go places. I know as you get older, it gets a bit slower and a bit tired, and some of my deliveries today, I suppose, weren't great. So probably things I have to work on in the future. So, but it's just great. I didn't expect this at all, to be honest. Buckley and a few of the boys there were absolutely flying there. So it was a real team performance.
Mossy, obviously Mick's been out for a very long time with that Achilles injury. How much of an achievement is it to be out for that long and then come back and put in a performance like that?
It's a massive achievement, you know. First and foremost, he has to get his body right, and then once he gets his body right, then he has to get back out there and to perform to the level he did. He'll take huge satisfaction, and you could see what it meant to him, you know. And you know, there's massive dedication put in by inter-county players, and I think GA players, to try and come back from injury once they're diagnosed, and they're willing to make those sacrifices. Richie Hogan, who we mentioned, you know, has stepped away from being a primary school teacher to focus on making sure. He's had back problems in the last couple of years, and he said it himself. He wants to make sure he gets the maximum out whatever he has left as an inter-county hurler. And I know Mick Fennelly's in a line of work in terms of getting like strength and conditioning, so he knows his body, he knows what he should be doing, and as he said there, it's about staying fresh. And you know, but to produce performance like that, like, it's all well and good saying to get the mind right, but then to go out and actually do it is massive.
And off the back of 2 training sessions as well. I mean, like, we look back at that, is strength and conditioning a ruse? Do we need to train at all? Can you just go out on a Saturday or Sunday and play? Yeah,
well, it might have been 2 on-pitch training sessions, but I'd say if you counted up the man hours that he put in to get to do those 2 training sessions would have been huge, you know. But it's funny. It's managers always like to say, you know, like, we'll pick on form and we'll pick on, you know, there are different rules for different players. Yeah. Definitely, like, if that's a squad player coming back from a similar injury and he's only 2 training sessions, I've no doubt the message is, you know, get a month's training under your belt. But when you're Mick Fennelly and you're in a win or lose, you know, you're out of the championship if you lose game, Brian Cody's going to pick him every time, you know.
Yeah, Mick wasn't the only star in Nolan Park on Saturday evening. Because it is now time for the slot that is taking online GA video content by storm. It's time for our fan of the week. Now I've got 2 nominations this week, and my first nomination is the bucko to end all buckos on field in Nolan Park behind Paul Murphy in his Sky interview. You'll see him there in his magnificent cap. He's very professional bucko. He's quite committed to remaining in shot despite the best efforts of the Sky cameraman to get him the hell out of there. It was really outstanding work.
It was, but I have a better nominee from the same game. See, the thing I don't like about that is that he's too professional. What I like is the bucko who finds himself on camera, is not sure entirely what he's going to do, but then really excitedly just goes, I'll go with a massive thumbs up. So when they came back to studio after showing the stats of the game, behind Ollie Canning, you can see here one of those buckos.
I think Brian will be happy to get out of here with the win. It was very, very close up to the very end, and even Limerick got it free, only 3 points down, and they dropped the ball in.
I think he might be my favourite GA fan ever.
They scrambled the ball clear.
We do have a 3rd nomination, by the way, that didn't come from Nolan Park. It's True Gael and Galway hurling fan Michael D. Higgins. Not many statesmen get to lift a national title every year in Croke Park. Michael D's now lifted 2, so do spare a thought for Enda Kenny, who's presumably weeping silently somewhere in Mayo.
Yeah, but I mean, no disrespect to our president, but I think, lads, the winner, we all have to agree, is the man with the thumbs up. The second clip. What I love most with this, if we can go back and see it again, it's not just the thumbs up, but watch the fist. His head goes off screen, and wait for it. Here we go. He's got. He's back.
I think Rachel had a little smirk there. You'd wonder, could she see him out of the corner of the eye? If she did, it was very professional to stay on point there, yeah.
Exactly.
We should mention that we presume that both these Kilkenny buckos will be in the crowd in the next round of the hurling qualifiers. Kilkenny have drawn Waterford. Those games are on Saturday, and then it's Dublin Tipperary. And the first pick of those hurling qualifiers will be live on Sky Sports this Saturday evening.
Exactly, and in terms of the football, obviously the draw has just been done this morning. Meath will play Donegal at home, and it's Clare against Mayo. Mayo, if they're going to get back to an All-Ireland final, will have to perform better than they did Saturday night. It was a Jacqueline high performance. It's probably the worst game of football I've seen in a long time. Really entertaining stuff. But some of the wides from Mayo, I mean, at one stage of the second half, they couldn't kick their dinner off a rope. I thought, you know, there was, I think, 17 wides they had in normal time, and then come extra time, it just all clicked again. It's amazing what confidence can do, Mossy, especially for a forward. That 1 minute you can kick from 40 yards, the next you can't from 14, and then you're back again flying.
Yeah, it was like a malaise came in through the team in the second half, and they were nearly trying to outdo each other with wide after wide, and they just needed someone to settle them down. And it looked for a long time like it was going away from them. And Derry, I know Chrissy McKay got a great chance to put Derry 2 up in the last couple of minutes, which you might have seen them close it out. And in fairness, Conor Loftus was the guy who stood up. He's a young guy and scored a brilliant goal. But yeah, then I'd say they're scratching their heads, the Mayo forwards, in the second half when they are in extra time, when they go and kind of shoot the lights out, and they win pulling up, you know. So it's a difficult thing, and it's something like they do show great perseverance. They stick with it. They don't stop, you know. And I think that's a testament to their character, their group. But it's something they'd rather not put themselves themselves into that situation. They'd rather be more efficient early on, and they'd close out games a lot easier.
Is there anything that a forward can do in game like that you, from your experience, in terms of when your confidence is gone, what can you do to try and, like, because they always say give off a simple hand pass of that if it's within play, but like when you're trying to actually score, it's a different thing because you have to take that shot on.
It is, yeah, and I think it's to try. I always would have tried to get to a, you'd kind of an area on the pitch that you'd be particularly comfortable from, that might be your kind of sweet spot or whatever you want to call it, and to try and get yourself there and try and take a shot from an area that you've been kicking ball after ball after ball, and you should be nearly able to do it with your eyes closed. What you don't want to do is end up on the far side of the pitch or shooting under pressure from close to the sideline, which some of their option taking might have been a bit questionable, So I always would have tried to get myself to an area where I was very comfortable in, to know that if I got it, get a shot off, and you'd be pretty confident. Yeah,
it was 25 chances I think in 70 minutes that Mayo spurned. At the same time, they were playing in Ballybuffet between Donegal and Longford. Now both teams contrived to kick more than 20 wides in the first half of that game. But probably the most notable aspect of this game was Longford's determination to keep their star forward Robbie Smith on the pitch. He had to go off for blood sub in the first half, but wasn't allowed back on because his jersey was stained with his own blood. And Longford forgot to pack a replacement number 13 jersey for him. So stepping out of the crowd, Longford fan Eugene Kwan, who randomly had the replica number 13 jersey on him, as we whipped it off, passed it down the crowd, gave it to Robbie Smith, and Smith ended up playing the rest of the game in it. And he did get it back, although, as this image shows, maybe not the best idea to go and retrieve it.
Yeah, probably thinking at that stage. Was he topless then for the rest of the match?
He did have a hoodie and a jacket, I think. But so it's usually Cavan people who it's said about Cavan people that, they'll take a shirt off a man's back. But it's not for people too.
I hope for Robbie's sake that your man hadn't been in Ballybuffet in the bars a couple of pints beforehand, the chipper beforehand. You'd imagine it'd be a fairly fresh shirt, because you'd have an issue putting something like that on. Smell of bummers or smell of some drink off the top.
Exactly, fend off the marker. Yeah. But before we move on from the qualifiers, Meath's match at the weekend deserves a special mention. It was delayed, it was delayed by 15 minutes for one of the strangest reasons I've ever seen. Fergal Lynch tweeted here, he said, match in Partihalton delayed as the theme tune to Sex in the City blasts out. I'm not sure if that was the reason why the game was delayed.
You have to assume that it was.
I presume so. They also had the pre-match playlist included the Friends theme tune, and some people are very upset. They also had Ali McBeal, and some people are very, very upset that once the A-team theme tune came on, they just cut away from it.
Sure,
the actual match started, the one that people wanted to listen to. Obviously they're playing Donegal in 2 weeks' time. Mossy, will Sex in the City put the fear of God into Donegal, do you think?
Well, we knew, I don't know what it says about Meath football when the talking point today after a game is the playlist on the radio, but I know Andy McEntee is known for trying different things, but this takes it to a new extreme, so he might try and mix it up next week to hope for a bigger performance, I would think.
Yeah. On more serious topics, we'll go back to the top of the show and talk about Kerry. It's said that Meath don't fear the Dubs. To flip that around, Mossy, is it time for the Dubs to fear Kerry?
I don't think they'll fear them, but they'll have, there's no doubt, there's obviously a rivalry there for the last couple of years, and I think the league final this year obviously kind of puts an exclamation point on that, because this Kerry team hadn't beaten Dublin in a meaningful game in a couple of years. So the fact that they have, and I don't think them winning Munster will change anything. I think everyone in Dublin would have expected Kerry to come through Munster, which they have done, and they've been impressive doing it. And what I take from it is the strength and depth they're bringing into their squad now. You see some of the players coming in and stepping up, and it just allows them then to bring that quality in off the bench, which is what they did yesterday, and they're putting up big scores. And if James O'Donoghue and Paul Gainey stay fit, they're gonna score against any team. But I don't think this Dublin team are going to fear anybody. Yeah,
in terms of the bench, we looked at like Stephen O'Brien coming on. Kerry have a serious forward line now, and we were thinking, when you look, I'd say there's probably 9 players who could get into nearly any forward team or forward position in the country, and we were saying if Dublin had the choice, or if you had the choice for Dublin, and you could draft one Kerry forward, who would it be?
One Kerry forward. Probably James O'Donoghue. I have to say I'm a big fan of Michael Gainey. I think he's been kind of goes under the radar, and he gets a massive amount of work done. He's a serious footballer, serious engine up and back the pitch. But I think O'Donoghue just has that little spark when he gets the ball, and he's so good off both feet. He kicked excellent scores yesterday, left foot, right foot, and he just has that. I think he'd be the type of player that Hill 16 would love, So he'd probably be the one, yeah.
Yeah, we do have to send a dub to Kerry. Who's going the other way?
Dub to Kerry. I'll kind of cop out here and use family connections. We'll send Bernard Brogan down purely because his mother's from Kerry, and I think they'd welcome him in. So I think Bernard could probably live with that as well.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Just before we go, that's pretty much it. But we just want to give a special shout out this week to the Sky Sports presenters, to the cameramen who remain so professional. Like, I mean, the Buckles thing, like, we're laughing at it, but like, to keep a straight face when all that's going on behind you, as you alluded to it earlier on, Mossy, I mean, Rachel did really well, and I commend her for it. But anyway, we need to move on. We will be back next week, where we'll be discussing the other 2 provincial finals and the hurling and football qualifiers from the weekend. But until then, stay safe and keep an eye out for any Buckos and GA fans of the week. Make sure to contact us on Facebook and Twitter.